Would it be possible? Would it be possible for everybody to mute themselves while and only the speaker to be actually speaking, please, just to get rid of the background noise?
Perfect. Anita, can you mute us all?
I think so. Let's have a look here. Mute all. Can mute all, but you're going to have to unmute yourself again. You're muted, Elizabeth.
Muted yourself too.
Oh,
yeah,
you
sorry.
know, if you had a dime for everyone someone said, you're on mute, how rich would we all be, eh? So anyways, this is the first time we've actually had supporters of SSTF join us. The group has been in existence for about 3 years, roughly. But we really wanted to kind of connect with you folks. You've been very generous with your support of us, very generous with your positive feedback. And so we just wanted to kind of share where we are with the group, what the group's been up to, share basically our platform, and also just to get some ideas from you in terms of, you know, if you like what you're hearing from our group, how can we get our message out there? How can we kind of build up support for our initiatives? So like I say, this meeting is recording and Anita's taking care of that. We'll post it up on our website, which is singleseniors4taxfairness.com. If you want to ask a question, you can go into the reaction button, the reaction area, and put your hand up. We'll also be monitoring the chat. So if you have anything in particular you want to either ask or question, we will be showing you some numbers, folks. That's not everyone's favorite thing to do on a Thursday afternoon, but we will be showing you some numbers to kind of give you a sense of some of our concerns here. And just a reminder here too, what our group is focused on is trying to change the federal tax legislation as it pertains to single seniors. We do perceive that there are inequalities in how we are taxed. And so that's kind of the goal of our group. We won't be offering any specific, tax or financial advice. If you hear something of interest in our presentation that you think might apply to you, then maybe, make a note of it. And next time you're chatting with your own financial advisors, just maybe discuss it with them, but we won't be offering any kind of specific financial advice. So that before we start, we'll just go through some introductions of the team. My name's Elizabeth Brown. I am the director of Single Seniors for Tax Fairness. As I said, the group has been in existence for about 2 to 3 years. It was started by a very energetic 85-year-old, Jane Robertson, who just through her own life experience identified some areas of concern when it came to the taxation of single seniors. And then Jane stepped down in May and I took over. I am retired. I'll be 62 at the end of the year. I have work experience in both the public and private sector. Most of my career has been spent in the private sector in consulting, in information technology and human resources. So I will, what we'll do is we'll introduce the rest of the SSTF team. We obviously won't have time to introduce everyone on the call, much as we'd love to, but maybe if you have a question or comment, you could say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and maybe say what city or province that you happen to be in. Okay. So with that, we seem to have some echo. That could be people.
Yeah, I'm having a problem getting off. I'm having a bit of a problem here.
It might be because you've got multiple sound options that are on, or you've logged in through a couple of different devices.
Yeah. I'm trying to get out of it.
Okay. So over to you. So Anita, since I see your face here, do you want to start with you and just introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name, Anita Schreier. My role in the group is administrative, really kind of administration writ large, helping coordinate all kinds of things. Website, we've got somebody with a younger person with more experience helping me help the group. With the financial transactions, answering emails, that kind of thing. I am 61 almost, and I'm retired. Worked most of my career in the private sector in the chemical industry. I'm a chemist by training, and I was in technical sales and business development. And in retirement, I like to keep active. So kind of stumbled upon this, and I'm bilingual as well. So that was one of the skills I brought to the group. That's how Jane Robertson, our founder, latched onto me, and that's another thing I help with. So happy to see you all. Thanks for joining.
That's great. Jean, over to you.
Sorry. I'm Jean D'Amelio Swire. I 34 and a half year 34 and a half year with the federal government. I worked for Revenue Canada, which became CRA, and CRA and Customs amalgamated for a little while. And then when I went on the Customs side after the amalgam, after they split up, I'm helping with some of the technical information on this, and attending the meetings, and that's it.
Okay, thanks, Jean. Isabel, over to you.
Hi, I'll be 76 at the end of the year. It looks like our birthdays are close together, Elizabeth. Happily retired for 15 years. I worked for 34 years for an insurance company in the actuarial, product development, and legal departments. So I was used to doing research and writing, and that's sort of a big part of what I do for this group. I've been separated, divorced since 1984. Big brother had nothing to do with it. So a long time single, and to see these numbers now is quite shocking.
That's great. Thanks, Isabel.
Thanks,
And
Isabel.
Laureen?
Yeah. Can you not see me here?
No, just ask you to introduce yourself, but we're...
I know, but I can't. I don't know. Can you see me at all?
No.
I know I've been having trouble.
Yeah, we're getting the echo again, too.
I know. I don't know what the heck to do here. Why don't I go out and try to get back in again?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And is Kimberly on the call? If not, we'll move forward. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to kind of highlight what our areas of concern have been. So this is a bit of a background about the group. Like I say, we're a nationwide movement. As you can see, we've got folks here from all over the country devoted to lobbying for revisions to the Income Tax Act, provide fairness and equity for single seniors. And we define single seniors as people who are 65 and up, never married, widowed, separated, or divorced. And so consequently, when we're talking about married, we're saying married in common law. So you'll hear us talk about that, obviously. And we're run largely, we're all volunteer. Jean referred to us as a grassroots organization, and I say that's a very apt description. We're funded solely by the kind donations from you folks. And the kinds of things we put that money towards are, for example, paying for this Zoom call, paying for the technology that sent you the information for the Zoom call, our website, the domain name, and so forth. So it's certainly put to good use just to kind of keep us moving forward. At last count, we had over 850 subscribers and supporters such as yourselves. The group has met with basically, it's over 135 individual MPs, and that is meeting with them one at a time across all different political spectrums to try to get the message out. We've had 8 petitions read in the House of Commons by those different MPs. And we've also made submissions to the Finance Committee. I don't know if you're aware, but every year the Finance Committee puts out a request to all Canadians to say, if you'd like to have some input into the federal budget, then prepare a submission, and then those all get considered by the Finance Committee in preparation for the 2024 budget. We did put something forward, and that's basically what we'll be walking you through today. So our areas of concern are basically 3 areas: pension income splitting, which is unfair to unmarried seniors. And for those of you who may or may not know, with pension income splitting, if you have a married couple, the higher earning member of the couple can allocate up to 50% of certain pension earnings to a lower income spouse. That lowers the overall tax bill for that married couple and can also push them below the threshold for the clawbacks of things like old age security and another credit called the non-refundable age amount tax credit. So we'll show you some numbers to show you what that can do to the taxes of single people compared with couples. Another area of concern is the fact that we're familiar with tax credits. Well, there's three that are of particular concern to us, in that if you're married, each member of a couple can apply those three credits each: person amount, the non-refundable age amount, as well as the pension income amount. Each member of that couple can claim those three credits. And not only that, but if spouse one doesn't use up all of their credits, they can pass them over to spouse two. And so again, you're going to see a lot of sort of double credits for couples. And of course, a single person can't split income, can't do anything about the credits because they're by themselves. The last concern that we have is around the transfer of RSP and RIF assets on the death of a single senior. In the case of a married couple, of course, if one member of that couple dies, then they can, those assets can be transferred to their spouse tax-free. But a single person, it all gets cashed out. And so that could be a significant tax hit in the year of death of that single senior. So we're looking for some ways to say, you know, can we make this process a little bit more fair for single seniors? So what we're going to show you is we're going to show you the tax implication of these first few things: the pension income splitting and the age amount, the non-refund, the tax credits and the pension income splitting. So basically, what we did is we created scenarios where we wanted to compare the taxation of the total income of a couple with the same income for a single person. And basically what we found was kind of, without exception, a single person was taxed more on the same taxable income as a married couple. So we'll show you some examples of that. A couple, so it doesn't get sort of too numbers heavy. We've made some assumptions when we created these scenarios, which will make more sense, I think, when you see them. But we're assuming, for example, it's whatever rules applied as according to the 2022 tax year. We're assuming that everyone in our scenario is getting old age security, maximum old age security. We're assuming that everyone in our scenario is getting Canada Pension Plan. We're assuming for our purposes that everyone resides in Ontario, but I know some of you are from other provinces. It's not going to affect you that much differently. We're assuming that our couple is going to use pension income splitting. And we're assuming that in, the first case we'll show you that the single senior and the couple will have the same combined income. And in the second case, we're going to show you how the single person's taxable income and is reduced by the fact that they have to pay back old age security. So without further ado, I see the chat, any particular issues or questions before we get started? Okie dokie. What would you rather look at on a Thursday afternoon than a bunch of numbers, people? But we've tried to make this as straightforward as we can. And like I say, what we're trying to compare is the earnings of a couple, the taxation of the earnings of a couple, their total taxable income, with that of a single person at the same level of income. So as we've said, we're assuming that here the couple, they have a total of 50,000. The single person has 50,000. As I said earlier, we're assuming everyone is getting old age security. Everyone's getting CPP. What this number is here is a plug figure, because what we were interested in was comparing these totals. So to work backwards, we basically have a couple with an additional income of about $16,000, and a single person has an additional income of about 33. And you might think, well, a single person, yeah, they've got more income here. Shouldn't they pay more tax? But the single person is not going to get the additional OAS and CPP that a couple does. So it kind of all works out in the wash here. So as I've said, we end up with a net result of a single person having 50, a couple having 50. The couple, they can split their income, which of course a single person can't. That will start lowering the tax bill, and again will help to drop them below the levels for clawbacks of certain benefits. This is where, remember I talked about the triple credits. So each member of the couple can claim a pension amount, a non-refundable age amount, as well as a person amount. So they can each claim this. So each spouse is claiming roughly 24,000 for a total of 48. A single person, of course, can't claim double because they're by their lonesomes. But even so, do you notice something here? This is 22, but one member of a spouse is 24. What's going on? Well, what's going on is that already at 50, a single person is going to start to see a clawback of one of the credits, which is the non-refundable age amount. They can't claim the full amount of that credit. But the single folks, the couples rather, they can claim the full amount. So by time the pension income splitting and the double credits works its way through tax-wise, here's the resulting taxation. A single person can expect to pay roughly $6,500 on 50,000. A couple can expect to pay roughly $1,200 on the same 50,000. Okay. So, and now we have had feedback saying, but Elizabeth, this 50,000 is paying for two people. We have an answer to that. So hold tight. We've got a couple of slides on that. And then also, in our group, we are not advocating that the government change anything to do with the what the married folks are getting. Keep all of it. Fill your boots, as the saying goes. What our group is advocating is that this number here should be far more closely aligned with this one. You know, and one of the arguments could be is that marital status is one of the prohibited grounds for discrimination under the Canadian Human Rights Act. So we're advocating that this can stay the same, but every effort should be made to try to get this down here. And our group has made some recommendations, but I'll pause there for a second before we go on to see if anyone, has a question or a comment. Or do we like what we see, folks? Are we happy with it?
Yeah, if anybody wants to, comment, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yes. Can you email us, or can we get a copy of that case one or everything you're presenting on there? Because it's really small on my screen and I can't really see it. And so I would like to be able to study it, because this is all new to me. I have never, this is the first year where I'm going to get dinged like probably $16,000 in taxes, and I'm really upset about it. So I need to know how it works.
That's a good point. And all the scenarios that we're showing you here are in our 2024 budget submission, and that budget submission is available on our website. It's Single Seniors for Tax Fairness website. So this scenario is on there, and it's about a 10-page document. It doesn't take much to go through, but you can see all of that, right?
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing, folks, I don't know if we have any folks on the call who are married, but understand that when married folks lose a spouse, they will move from this column to this one. And we often get, that my spouse died and my taxes have gone up, and either they don't know why or they're concerned about it, as we just heard. So any other questions or comments on this before we move forward?
Yeah, a question maybe belongs later, but what I was wondering is, in terms of the government and it, trying to maximize money, have you looked at what would happen if there were more fairness? Would it have a significant impact on what OAS payments needed to be paid to single seniors? I.e., would the government have to pay them less if it left them with more?
Well, I mean, one of our recommendations is about changing the threshold at which OAS is clawed back. So I know you're concerned about money, and we've sort of made a series of recommendations that we expect the government to kind of look at and cost on their own. I don't know if that addresses your question or not.
It doesn't really, but I'll write it out to you so you can see if you
Okay. Okay, so moving on. So what we've done is just another example at 100,000. And so
just-
again, this,
Elizabeth, sorry,
Yeah.
Betty McGee has her hand up.
okay,
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that people are able to see the full graph. I wasn't when I had it on the previous screen. So if anybody can't, they can go up to view options up on the top and change the view option so that they can see the full graph.
Great.
no, that's
Thank you,
good.
Betty. Great.
Okay.
I wasn't aware.
So we'll look at a similar case. And again, if you can't see it 100%, it is on our website in the budget submission. But here we were comparing, a single person with 100,000 and a couple with also with 100,000. So a lot of our same assumptions are in place here. So everyone's getting full OAS, everyone getting full CPP. Here the couple have approximately 66,000 in income that they're splitting. And the single person has 83. And again, but what we notice here is there's going to be a social benefits repayment in that at this level, a single person is already having to start paying back their OAS, whereas a couple retains their full OAS on the same 100,000 in income. Okay, so and the couple is also able to split their income, which of course a single person can't. And this is because the clawback for OAS starts at about 81,000. Well, of course, if you're 100,000 and you can split it, then that will help to drop you below the threshold for clawback. The other scenario we have here, again, when it comes to our credits. So in this case, the credits have dropped a little bit for the married folks. In the previous example, it was sitting around 24,000. Now it's about 22. And that's because they're starting to see a clawback again of one of the tax credits, the non-refundable age amount. But look what's happening here. So in the previous example, the single person had roughly 22,000 in credits. Now they've dropped to 16. The couple has only seen a little bit of a drop, but the singles have had it drop substantially. They have lost an entire credit. So what that means is, again, that we already have the fact that the OAS is being clawed back. They've lost an entire credit. So now when we're looking at the taxation, we can see that a single person will be paying almost twice the tax on the same income. In the previous example, it was 5.5 times. So I guess twice is better than 5.5. But again, there's a significant difference in taxation. And again, the couple is still able to keep full OAS and the single person is not. So any questions on this one or hands up or? Okay. So we'll move on. And so basically what we did here is we were just starting to compare just different levels of income to have a look and see what this means. So we said, okay, well, let's look at 30 and 40,000. Well, on those amounts, a couple doesn't pay anything. But a single person on 30,000 will pay roughly 1,700. On 40,000, a single person will pay roughly 4,000, so almost 10%. So they end up paying substantially more tax. And also there's a clawback of an age amount that already starts for a single person, even at 40, but there's no clawbacks for the couple. At 50,000, again, a single person will pay $5,000 more in taxes than a couple and have a significantly larger clawback of the age amount, which couples don't have. 70,000, a single person is going to pay $7,500 more in taxes than a couple. And then their clawbacks will also be significantly higher for the age amount. And then we've already talked about the 100,000. And why these numbers are highlighted in blue. We were meeting with an MP, Julie DeBrusen, she's a Liberal, and she said, how much more would a couple have to earn before they're taxed at the same amount as a single person? And so this is an example. A couple could earn another $30,000 per year in income before they're taxed the same as a single person. So that's why those are highlighted in blue. Any thoughts or? Okay.
Sorry, can you just repeat that last statement again?
Yeah, so one of the
just exactly as you said, how much would the couple, so the blue is highlighting,
This is the tax that's paid. And so
Yeah.
you see that 70,000, a
Yes.
couple would pay 55 and a single would pay 13.
yes,
At 100,
okay.
the couple is paying 13 and the single's 24. In other words, a couple could earn another $30,000 in income before they're paying the same tax as what a single person would do on 70.
Right, okay,
So
thank you.
yeah. And I see something in the chat.
Can I make a comment? I'm sorry for my ignorance, because my area of expertise is medicine. What is a clawback? I don't know what that means.
Jean, over to you.
A clawback means a repayment of OAS. In 2022, if you had income of over 81,000, you had to repay some of your OAS up, and the upper limit was around 129. If you made more than 129, you had to pay back all of your OAS. In 2023, the clawback starts at around $86,000. So clawback means repayment.
So what we have here is cases where single people are having to repay, but couples are not yet at the levels of income we've looked at. So, and I see, I see two chats. Is there anything else in the chat, Anita, that we can address?
People are making some comments, and if anybody wants to see what's in the chat but can't currently, if you go to the bottom of your screen, there's there are various things you can click on. One says chat, and if you just click on it, the chat will appear. So
Going to get a little, maybe some audience participation here, because as I've said to you, one of the comments that we got when I said in the $50,000 example is, well, of course, you know, couples are taxed less because they have to look after two people, not one. And what we took a stab at here are just comparing non-discretionary expenditures. And so basically, if you look at non-discretionary, so for example, does it make a difference if you're married or single when you're paying your mortgage? Does it make a difference if you're married or single when you're paying your utilities? Maybe a little bit, but enough to say, hey, you know, it's cheaper to live as a single person. You know, our argument is that a lot of these expenses rather, are these big ticket items are going to be the same, whether you're married or you're single. I mean, who can say, you know, in today's world that it's, oh, if you're a single person, you don't pay as much mortgage or rent as a couple. I mean, none of those things have anything to do with the number of people in a household. It's a similar thing with like automobile. Like we're all going to get our snow tires put on shortly. I've certainly never been asked at a dealership what my marital status is, because I guess the assumption is I have to pay the same for the tires, whether I'm by myself or with a couple, or is the idea that because I'm half of a couple, I only put 2 tires on. I don't know what the logic is. And when you look at sort of where we're headed, we found a survey that said basically that about 96% of Canadians would do anything possible to avoid going into long-term care. Every singles group and seniors group is talking a lot about aging at home. And I think when you look at people wanting to age at home, the fact that we have an aging population in the sense that there were a lot of us that were born between 1946 and 64, baby boomers, I'm one of them, and people who are living longer, like to me, what that means is that people's needs are going to become increasingly individualized and complex. I don't know how you can say anymore that, well, if you're married, you spend money on this, and you're single, you spend money on that. Even food, I mean, sure, can we really say that a single person spends less on food? Can a single person take as easy advantage of the deals at Costco? You know, single people often like to spend, maybe they want to buy smaller amounts, but can't because that's not the way food is packaged. When it comes to transportation, it's probably easier to maintain a car as a couple. If one member of a couple has to go to a medical appointment, well, the other person can take them, whereas a single person has to pay for a taxi or an Uber. A couple might be able to provide, you know, personal care for each other, but a single person is going to have to pay for more for a personal support worker. I just don't know that we're in the world anymore where, like I say, you're married or you do this, and you're single, you do that. And I wanted to kind of throw that open for any comments or feedback that you might have. Like, what are some of your experiences? Either maybe someone who was married and now single, or someone maybe been a lifelong single. Like, share. We'd love to hear from you.
We have two hands raised. One is user.
Go for it, user.
Okay, well, that it only makes sense though that when there's two people in a household, two people are bringing income, which in total will be more than what one person brings in, and yet when there's one person, they're paying out more. So that's all. It's all convoluted. It doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't think you'll find too much disagreement. Anyone else? Sorry, so we don't keep calling you user. What did you say your first name was?
Terry.
Terry.
Yeah.
Anyone else echo Terry's thoughts or have any other?
Bethany has her hand up.
Go ahead.
Unmute yourself, Bethany. Bethany, unmute.
I just wondered for those previous charts, do you have them somewhere for incomes higher than 100,000? Because it's still unfair for singles who are earning more than that.
We actually did run a couple of scenarios, which we didn't include in the presentation, but it is in our budget submission. We have an example of a single person who earned 110,000 and a couple with 140. The single person was paying more tax on 110 than the couple was on 140. And at 110, the single person was getting all of their non-refundable age amount tax credit clawed back and a good chunk of their OAS, where even at 140, the couple was still retaining full OAS. So, we have a couple of examples that go higher than 110. Yeah, it's not good news, but those, again, that's in our submission as well, which is on our website. Anything else? Does anyone else sort of have any other examples or experiences?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So I'm Kathy. I have been widowed for a couple of years, and I totally agree with everything. I'm still in a state of shock with the amount of tax I pay, but one that I've come up with lately is traveling and the single supplement. That is insane, the amount of money that one has to pay. And other than what you're saying, there's a lot of things that happen when you do become a widow that, like, you miss out on your husband's CPP. I know this is more about being single, but there's certainly other things like the RIF that you pointed out that if I think the couple on your website, you use two sisters living together. So that argument is, I have a few friends in that boat as well. But love what you're doing, and the travel thing is one that got me recently.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we could shut this whole argument down with those two words, Kathy. Single supplement. It's just
Oh my God.
I travel quite a bit, and there are some tour groups that don't ding you as much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Road Scholar is very good for that, although it's American dollars, so that doesn't help either.
Yeah.
But any other comments, like, any expenses, like have we maybe missed, or things that you yourselves are finding, like, oh, wow, XYZ is more expensive than I thought it would be as a single person?
Hi.
Go ahead.
This is Susan in London. Yep. You probably alluded to this earlier, but I've noticed that this has been creeping up more frequently. When you go grocery shopping, the deals are in 2 for 1 or whatever. And for one, you pay the previous price. And so, and it's, why would I buy 2? Because I know that I'm just going to waste it. And that's a terrible thing to do. Maybe if it's something that's non-edible, it might be worthwhile. But even then, I find it, even not far from where I live, there's a Value Mart, and it caters to a lot of senior citizens, and they have almost everything on the shelf seems to be 2 for 1. Not 2 for 1, but
I know what you
buy
mean.
2. Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine who she was really annoyed at that. I don't know what people are talking about, but sometimes you'll go into a store and you'll see a perishable item. It says 2 tubs of yogurt for $5.
Yeah.
And then you think unit price is $2.50, but if you only want to buy one, no, it's like $2.75 or something like that. And I had a friend of mine who asked that, and the store manager said, "Well, that's what the suppliers want."
Well, I'll tell you.
I'm not saying that's a defense, but it is an annoyance for a lot of people. Yeah.
I find that's the case with the Loblaws stores, all the ones in the Loblaws chain. Sobeys, which I believe is affiliated with Metro and a few others, doesn't do that. They charge half the 2-4 price.
Yeah.
So
I think it
you know,
depends.
it's unfortunate if Loblaws is the most convenient. Yeah, I just walk away. I just refuse.
Yeah, but I think you're right, Susan. I mean, yeah. So anyway, so that's some of the argument. So and again, any other experiences or any expenses we might have missed on the list?
These days, I think you can just go housing,
Yes.
full
true.
stop, right? Like that's,
Yes.
you don't get to do half houses.
Go ahead.
I'm just Carol from actually Nova Scotia. Just another couple comments. For myself, I am widowed, but I also went through, you know, a very expensive time with paying for long-term care and that expense. And then after to go through all of that, and then to be hit with this extra tax bill is like, and I was a caregiver for many years too. So you just feel like it's a big slap in the face, right? Because everything that you tried to work so hard for and the trauma and everything that you went through, and then you get re-traumatized. But I did have, I'm really excited about the work. I think it's wonderful. One comment, I'm just wondering if you've partnered or reached out to CARP.
Yes, we have tried many times.
Okay.
And that would be logical. I've reached out, Jane, my predecessor reached out. What the answer we usually seem to get is, well, we've already set our advocacy agenda for this year or whatever. I think what makes our group unique, we seem to be the only ones that are talking about this.
I really think that the message has to get out there. People do not believe it's possible that we pay more than a couple.
Yes.
They just don't believe us. So getting the message out is great.
Well, we're gonna come to that, Carol, how all y'all can help get the message out. So we're just gonna move on here because we just want to talk briefly about the RSP, which I know, Isabel, this is very near and dear to your heart here. But as we said earlier, if you have a couple and one member of the couple dies, then they can transfer their RSP and RIF assets to their remaining spouse tax-free. What we are saying is we would like to have a similar opportunity as single people. Now, we know that RSPs and our tax deferral mechanism, at some point, the government wants to get our money back. We're not saying we don't pay tax, but what we have recommended is that maybe on the death of a single person, they can designate a beneficiary of choice, and those monies could maybe be paid out over a 10-year period to that beneficiary with the tax taken at that time. And then if that beneficiary were to pass within that 10 years, then it could all be cashed out. But just something to kind of make it a little bit more equal so that single people, of course, who want to leave assets to their loved ones can do the same. So Isabel, this is one you feel quite strongly about. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, and interestingly, we just learned that in the US, hardly a bastion of social progressive moves, they allow the IRA, which is kind of like something like the RSP, to be paid out over 10 years to a non-spousal beneficiary. So very interesting. And we'll keep that around when MPs challenge us on.
Yeah, we have been talking to MPs. We did meet with a fellow named Philip Lawrence, who's a conservative member of the Finance Committee, and he said he kind of liked this idea. He was actually warmer to this one than he was with the tax stuff that we talked about. So again, these recommendations, they are on in our budget submission, which is on our website. So we've kept things exactly as they are, introduced some kind of provision to compensate single seniors for a considerable reduction in taxes payable by couples who use pension income splitting. Now, interestingly, we met with Aaron O'Toole a number of months ago now, obviously before he left Parliament, and he said, we know pension income splitting is unfair to single people. He said back in 2015, we were coming up with options to try to address it, but of course they didn't get elected, did they? So I don't think it's unknown that there's some inequalities. I think maybe the government's just stuck on how to make any changes. So anyway, that we also implement a new kind of non-refundable tax credit to address some of the issues with the credits that we referred to earlier, half the person amount. that we increase the pension amount, which is again another one of the credits from 2,000 to 3,000. That we clawbacks start happening for single people, not couples. So can we do anything to jack up the clawback thresholds for old age security and the age amount? And then, as I mentioned, is there an opportunity to spread the payments of RSP and RIF assets for single people, spread them out over 10 years for a beneficiary of choice? Maybe it's a child or a sibling that's looked after. You see, none of this really addresses the fact that family structures have changed as well, and so forth. So again, any additional experiences you guys have had when it comes to taxation or RSPs, RIF transfers? Oh, I see a hand up from Jane from Hamilton. So Jane, if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, or. Okay. But anything else like you guys have seen or any other? Oh, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now. Another element to the RSPs is I've been trying to liquidate mine slowly because that is creating another clawback situation. By having each time I withdraw, I get hit again with another clawback because it's raising my income by that much. So that's just another element to the RSPs and how the way it's being managed for single people is creating yet another cost.
Okay, no, that's a good point, Jane. Yeah, we haven't addressed that specifically, but yes, of course, because it's considered income, and if you take it out and it's a certain amount you have to take out, that can put you above the clawback level.
That's why, depending on your income, it's Jean, sorry, you should really be consulting with a financial advisor to see what happens when you take out certain amount of money, what happens to your age amount, and what will happen to your old age pension. So you always should seek the advice of a financial planner who knows your whole package.
Yeah.
But it's mandatory to take out a certain amount anyways, right? Yeah. So it exacerbates everything that's on these slides.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so
Bethany,
what I really recommend is for people who are not yet 71, be prepared for that time, because that's when you have to take some out.
Yeah.
And it makes a big jump in your income and therefore your taxes.
Yeah, if you're retired
to 71, because I wasn't, and wow.
Yeah, and I actually started taking my RIF withdrawals before 71. I mean, I wasn't near the OAS clawback or anything, but that way you're sort of spreading it out a bit more, which I guess
you can put them TFSA, for example.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even if you just move it into non-registered, you don't have to spend it, just take it out so that you're getting hit with the income before you have to, before it's 71. Don't have to wait.
Yeah, you don't have to wait, but everybody should be asking your financial advisor what the best way forward is.
For sure.
Is there, I see something in the chat. Is there anything new in the chat, or is it just a comment? Any question?
I think Bethany had.
Go ahead.
I saw one thing in the chat about, and I don't know if the lady's still with us, about a man showing these numbers to an accountant and saying it was all bunk. I would love to, anybody wants to challenge these numbers, send me an email, because these numbers are as simple as an income tax return you can get, and they show a great disparity. The disparity is far greater than what we are showing here. And if anybody wants to challenge what we're saying, that the numbers are not right, send me an email and show me.
Okay, so just so you know, we do have a little bit of good news. At the end, the Finance Committee, at the end of all their budget consultations, they prepare a report. And so in March 2023, the Finance Committee prepared a report responding to the challenges of our time. And there's a recommendation in there that basically comes from the work that Single Seniors has already done. So I'll give you folks a minute to read that. This report as well, the Finance Committee report, is also on our website, but that particular recommendation is of use to us. Yay, I see Bethany is. So, that kind of brings us to the end of our sort of formal presentation in terms of
Oh,
who
I
are.
wasn't finished.
Oh, sorry. I'll leave that up.
Could somebody actually just maybe read it out loud?
Okay. Recommendation 115. Examine the financial support measures available to seniors to ensure equitable treatment between single seniors and senior couples, including by considering the potential benefit of a non-refundable tax credit for single seniors and a higher threshold for the clawback of OAS security benefits for single seniors. So the good news is that the advocacy work to date has at least resulted in a recommendation that's sitting in a formal report, and the report goes up to the Minister of Finance for consideration. So I think that's a big win. Has everyone finished reading? I see something I see more stuff in the chat. And I can't see if there's any other hands up, but I see 7 comments. Okay. Anything else in the chat? Isabella,
Yeah, just people kind of wondering why there are no men on the call today.
There are.
And there was a comment earlier. I did comment that we do have men who are supporters of the organization. Why there aren't any on the call today, the thought that came to mind, there could be many reasons, but
there are. They've been responding to say, I'm here. Men responding to say they're here.
I haven't kept up. Thank you. Yeah. Why there aren't as many could be related to the fact that in general, on average in Canada, men may make more money than women, and they end up in retirement with more money. So maybe it's less of a concern for men. And another person mentioned that women live longer. That's a concern for them. I'm sure there are many reasons, but this is a single seniors issue, male or female, or gender neutral. Let's say it's a gender neutral issue.
Okay. So the last part of this call is how can we, I think a lot of us are here because you have common concerns about taxation. What can we do to get our voices heard? So we've got some ideas here about checking our website. You can email us with your comments, suggestions. We do have the ability to, for donations to kind of keep our movement going. We have a Facebook page. You can like us on Facebook. We have a section on our website where you can, not only can you make comments, but we also have an area where you can sign up for an email to get regular updates from us. Tell your friends and family. But I really think it's about, writing to your MP. We have a template on our website for something you can, download and use if you wanted to write to your own MP. If you do that, you can let us know. And then what we could do is we could follow up with that MP and say, just so you know, I understand that your constituent has written to you. Can we follow up with a meeting? Because MPs quite often like having, hearing from their constituents. And if we do set up a meeting, you're welcome to attend with us as a constituent. Or there are some folks who said, well, I'm okay with writing a letter, but I don't want to sit in a meeting. And that's fine as well. But I would really encourage, we really have to make our voices heard. And we've got 40 people on the call. If you were all to, write your MP, then that might get some more attention. And like I said, invite us to your groups. There's all kinds of groups around the country. A lot of them are looking for speakers. We are more than happy to do that. We've already appeared in front of the Central Women's Probus group, for example, in Burlington. We did that in person. We can do them remotely. So if you have a group that's would be interested, certainly again you can send an email and we can make that happen. And I think the other things as well. And if you have any contacts, I think there's probably a lot of untapped resources out there. Do you have any contacts with, like, my cousin's brother's sister's friend is MP so-and-so or minister so-and-so, is a journalist with this organization, or, is the CEO of this organization, or any contact that you think that we can use to raise our voices. I think that would be very helpful. And I'll just pause there for any other feedback? I see there's in the chats. I don't know if those are just comments or if they're questions. So anything you can do to help. And then the last thing is, how would you guys feel about actually contacting the MPs that we've laid out here? And I know that there are people who contact their MPs or send them a letter, which is great. But what that means is sort of one MP getting one letter. I think it would be really neat if all 45 of us on this call were to all call Chrystia Freeland's office and send her an email using the MP template. If all of us were to call Seamus O'Regan, who is the Minister for Seniors, Anna Roberts, who's a critic, she's the Conservative Seniors critic, Rachel Blaney, who's a big supporter of ours, she's the NDP Seniors critic, Andréane LaRouche, if you know any French, from she prefers to interact in French, but anyone who speaks French, you can call that. And then Elizabeth May, of course, she's the Green Party, but she's one of those folks who presented a petition for us in the House. So that would be, say, group one. And then group two, if you're feeling energetic, is some of the folks who are on the Finance Committee who will be the ones who are making the recommendation going forward. And if you were, so you can use the MP template and send it to these folks with their email. And if you wanted to call, here's a sample script. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I live in Edmonton, or I'm a supporter of single seniors. I share their concerns regarding the taxation, etc. So we put in a sample phone script here. But how would you guys feel about doing that? Calling MPs, writing to them, like it's starting to get more of a.
Yes, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm
good.
in.
Great. And any other suggestions?
And if you wanted to give kind of a schedule to say, this is Chrystia Freeland month. And so that so that it's kind of like, it's not just we're all doing random things. It's kind of a little bit more of a force. And then like, this is whomever month, or then
I was
sort of targeted.
Selfishly speaking, I thought, beginning of every month, you just whip out an email to all these folks and you call them a second. But yeah, I mean, we can look at a schedule for, hey, let's call Chrystia Freeland. And I think probably those two ministers, for example, Freeland and O'Regan, they're the ones that would probably have the biggest clout. But I think, again, what we hear is that it's a good idea to have other MPs reach out to Minister Freeland. We also have a letter. Like if your MP said, oh, I'll write a letter to Minister Freeland. We have a letter that we prepared for another MP, a lovely man, Terence Rogers, who's out in the East Coast, and he is sending that to Minister Freeland, and he also physically handed it to Minister O'Regan. So, if any of them will say, well, I'll write to Minister Freeland for you, then, we've got a draft letter that they can use, so they don't have to come up with it themselves. But like, are you guys okay with making phone calls? And
well, I think the scripts is helpful too, because some people can be nervous about, well, what if they ask about the numbers? I don't know what to say. And you don't need to get into the numbers. You can just say that you support this, and it's an initiative that you've made enough that they already know.
Okay.
Could I suggest that you send us a little package? You have all our email addresses.
Yep.
Send us a little package with the letters, the names of the the MPs that you want us to contact, and a script, like all in a one email, so that we can go through it. That way it'll be incentive to get something done. But just leaving us now, I'm not so inclined.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Terry. So
okay.
It's just and go ahead.
And then we could send that message to our friends to try and broaden it.
Yep. And what do you guys think? I mean, I think it was it Susan earlier there anyway about the schedule, or what do you think about sort of calling these folks all at once, or would you want to see a schedule saying, it's Minister Freeland month, or O'Regan week, or something like that?
The trouble is, when these people start having meetings to talk about the budget, you kind of want them all to have been blitzed before then.
Yeah. So maybe we could say something like, because the budget usually gets presented in the spring of any year. So they'll probably start, I would assume they're starting the budget consultations now, even meeting amongst themselves. So, so I think, you know, to the extent that people can, and maybe to your point, Isabel, do like just a blitz, do as many as you feel comfortable with, then that will be great. And like you say, Terry, we can put together a little package and say, phone these people, here's a letter you can use and so forth, but we can put that together. Any other comments?
I might have one.
Yep.
I'm just thinking that who knows when an election is going to be. Is there a way to, I see you have Anna Roberts, conservative senior critic. You know, I'm not that much of a political junkie, but is there a way to target maybe more conservative MPs or more
Yeah.
does that make sense? Or
I think you're perhaps meaning like opposition, so people in opposition.
like I'm thinking, is this something that we could actually have talked about during the election? That's probably not that far off. Is there, is there better, like as I said, I'm not real political junkie, but is there, I see you have, you know, Green Party, Bloc, NDP, one person. I don't know who else might be someone to approach, Pierre Polaviv or however you say his name. Like, is this something that maybe they could, it might resonate with them?
Yeah, I mean, we could add those folks to the list, like Jagmeet Singh, Pierre Polyev. And
I mean, you know, the senior vote is important. So, yeah. And even if you're not single, chances are you know, it's possible that it's a scenario that we're all going to probably face at some point in time. So I wonder if it actually could be talked about during the election, if we can make it something to talk about. So, but I don't know who those people would be. So,
okay, no, that's a good point, Carol.
Betty McGee has her hand up.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I wondered if you had any contact with the National Pensioners Federation. They do a lot of lobbying and have some good contacts with government folks in terms of lobbying, and this seems like an ideal campaign for them to take forward.
Okay, it's on the list. We had some preliminary contacts with them. I actually have an email in the mailbox that I need to follow up with, but yeah, they liaised with my predecessor, Jane Robertson, and so, you know, they were quite supportive. So okay. We can reach back out to them.
Joy?
I see a hand. Yeah.
Sorry.
Joyce also has her hand up. Sorry, people, if we don't catch the hands up so quickly. So you can always unmute and jump in, but we're doing our best. So Joyce?
This is my first meeting, and I am really impressed with the quality of the presentation plus the information that you have done. I really think a lot of credit needs to go to the people who've spent a lot of time with this. I would like to support, certainly, see if we can get some press on this. You know, there are a lot of, fortunately now women are more likely to speak up, as many people have on this committee. And I think we have a voice to be heard. And because we're the ones that are usually the single people at this time, I'm wondering if we could get some really big, I mean, I don't know how you get into things like even Chatelaine, or the Globe and Mail has a great program. I'm in healthcare, and the Globe and Mail has had these wonderful programs on healthcare. And I think they might be interested in something like this, because this is a massive issue right now, and we need to hit while this is strong. Everybody's talking about payment and how hard it is to finance things and how hard it is to make ends meet. And I think it's a perfect time to bring this up.
That's perfect. And one of the things I didn't mention, I know we're getting to the call here, and I'm certainly happy to stay on, is that anyone wants to volunteer with our group. You know, it would be great if we had, for example, someone that could help us, you know, notify the press or get our messaging out and follow up with phone calls, or, you know, help us reach out more with the MPs. I mean, I can show you what we've done to date. I mean, even just since May, these are all the MPs that we've met with: Joanne Thompson, Julie DeBrusen, Ali SSC, Rachel Blaney, Philip Lawrence, Jasraj Singh Howland, John Brassard, Terrence Rogers, Jane Cordy. We have another couple of meetings that are coming up this month. These are the groups that we've met with. So, I mean, if anybody kind of wants to join our team and help us, I think a lot of it is messaging. I think we have the message crafted, but it's, you know, trying to reach out to all the different groups. And certainly if you're interested in joining and you know, getting more involved with our group, you can email us and give you some of your, you know, details, and we can have a chat about what you might like to do, because there's a lot of work here.
Rob Carrick of the Globe and Mail actually did an interview with Elizabeth that was published. So, I mean, he's a constant financial columnist in the Globe. So that was great attention.
Yeah. So this is the article. Basically, it was in his newsletter. And so he basically sent us all a list of questions, and we answered them. And so now and this is also on our website. We put that link.
With regards to media, we will be getting a lot more media come January and February, because that's when media is interested in tax. We'll do a lot of media in the new year.
Yeah. But like I say, if anybody wants to help us out, any other thoughts or ideas as to how we get our message out, voices heard, groups we can reach out to, anybody you happen to know that you think might be of help? Again, you can certainly email us with any of your thoughts and ideas after this meeting.
It's Susan in London again. I listen to CBC all the time. And every day from 12 to 1 is Ontario Today, coming out of Ottawa, actually, with Amanda Pfeffer. Yeah. It seems like it would be a good topic, maybe January, February. I'm sure they're always looking for, you know, different things.
No, it's a good idea, Susan. Anyone else? Anything else to?
On that suggestion, it might be pitched. It might be perceived as a bit narrow for her program, but if you pitched it as discrimination in the tax system more broadly, we could get our message out and maybe get the program.
Yep. Yeah, it's all about angles, because all the different journalists have different areas of interest and different things that they want to cover. Anything else that people want to contribute? Any other hands up or anything in the chat? Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming. If you have any thoughts afterwards, again, you've got our email address here. Like I said, that finance report is on our website. The template for the MP is on our website, Writing the MP, as well as our budget submission for 2024. So a lot of the tables and numbers you saw are actually in that document on there. So you can go and have a look. And if you have any other subsequent thoughts or suggestions, or like I say, want to help us out, volunteer, then certainly by all means send us an email. We'll follow up. Was this useful, folks? I mean, this is the first time we've done this. Was this helpful, useful?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Was it worth your time?
Very inspiring. Thank you. Tremendous work.
It says we're not alone.
Yes, thank you. All right, that's an excellent. Oh, I see you managed to change yourself from user, Terry. You're not user anymore.
Well, somebody did, but it's TERI.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know if I spelled your name right. Sorry.
TERI.
Another thing we're looking for are stories to put on our website, like personal situations. We don't put the person's name or anything, but we're looking, because stories are powerful, and people connect with stories. So if any of you have any stories that you'd like to share with us, that we can, again, not put your name or anything to identify, and if you agree to it, we're looking for stories of personal situations.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah. So again, like I say, if you're inspired to volunteer and reach out to folks on the group's behalf, all of our behalves actually, then that would certainly be helpful. Anything else? I see there's a few things in the chat. Okay.
Apologies, I have an appointment, so I've got to go, but please keep going. And
okay,
it's good. You don't.
Well, I think if no one has any more to add, then like I say, I think it was a great meeting. We'll post the recording up on the website. And
I was just going to say, if there's a way on the website where we can say, I sent, like, press a little button to say, I sent something to this MP or something, so that there's a way that you get some feedback that is happening as well, that would be nice.
You can put it in, like, there's a contact form at the bottom of the website. You can add it there or send us an email, either way.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Good. Lovely to meet all of you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. So I have to go, but it's being recorded. I guess we can stop the recording, and the chat's being saved, and I really do have to run.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Anita.
Yeah, lots of